Hello and welcome back to the smoke room. We will now be continuing with Nikolai's chapter, I guess. But yeah. Well, here we go. Hope nothing spooky happens. The sloping ceilings in this part of the mine are much higher than I thought they would be, and patches of light seep through the exposures in the ceiling. A raised wooden building with glass windows on a platform glows from the yellow light of the oil lanterns inside. Mizal, our foreman, is stationed there. But he takes his lunch alone, and he does not commiserate or socialize with lower stations. What's wrong? The windows. I just noticed that they're on every side of the structure. He may see us. And if he does, he will see three shapes in works clothing, moving in the dark. His belly is the most important to him at this time. Let's go. We see the silhouette of the man's head at the table against the yellow light as we creep by. He doesn't rise as we pass by. Nick releases his breath when we turn a corner. We find an even larger room with high ceilings. 6 tunnels exit this huge room. In the middle of the room, there, I can see a dark chasm. There's a winch for operating an elevator, but the shaft goes so deep that I can't see much of anything past the chasm's surface. A sense of fear and respect wash over me, the same kind of feeling I get when I'm in a church or something very old. But I don't understand why I feel that here. We go left here, the first tunnel. I can't help but stare up again. The beams of light that penetrate this room make it feel more like a cathedral than a mine. And the sickle-shaped rocks quietly drip into puddles. I haven't seen anything like this before. Yao turns around as if confused and beckons me with his paw. Don't stand under the stalactites. The activity in the mines could dislodge them. The what now? Nikolai hums. If the rock formation clings tightly to the ceiling, it is a stalactite. If the formation is on the floor, like a termite mound, it is a stalagmite. I don't think I ever needed to know this. The badger shakes his head as if it's common knowledge, and it kind of is. But now you will never forget it. Maybe Nick will be fine down here after all. We do not have unlimited time. Please quicken the pace. The lights dim as we leave the larger room behind us, entering a more narrow tunnel. After 5 or so minutes of walking, I see the tiger's ears swirl in the dim light. We turn right here. Right where? I gasp as the tiger suddenly disappears right into a wall. When I turn, I see that there's a tunnel camouflaged by the side of a wall. I would have missed it entirely if not for the tiger. How did you know this was here? The airflow changes when it has more than one place to exit. It's not like the popping in your ears that you get when you climb mountains. It feels more like wind. The tunnel he leads us down has no natural lighting or torches. The path is lined with rocks. All the light we have is from our own lamps and helmets. I grab Nick's sleeve, but I feel him flinch. He leans in close to me and whispers, Everything is fine, Sam. Yao knows the way. I'm whispering now too, struggling to find my words. No, it isn't. There's still things I haven't told you about what happened down there. Sam, most are scared of the mine at first. And a terrible thing happened to you down here. So I can only imagine how much worse it must be for you. But I have experienced terrible things in the dark too. And there are far more dangerous things than Jack. You're talking about Jack? I'm thrown by how good the tiger's stubby ears are. Well, who isn't really? I smooth down the tufts of fur on my head while drips of water and faint pickaxe noises ring in the distance. I mean, of course, considering the accident and all. I understand the necessity of your actions, and I am sympathetic. I force out a laugh and my echo draws out how strange it sounds. You know? I rub my face. You know. I can almost taste the venom in my own words as they hiss out of my mouth. How dare he tell? Doesn't he care at all about what happens to me? Before you vocalized your grievance, it was I who insisted on knowing your circumstances. I will not dig in the dirt on my lunch break searching for somebody else's money without there being a good reason. And what was such a reason? Pray tell. The tiger stops walking and turns to look at me. Jack was the reason. Nick and I both lived with him for over a year. There's an edge in his voice. Did he say over a year? Was everything Jack told me about himself a lie? Who was Jack, really? He wronged so many, and I will not let him wrong another. The heat in his face is cooling off, and I feel momentarily a little embarrassed with myself. This sounds like you didn't much like him. I heard the tiger inhale. I do not wish to speak ill of the dead, but Jack was an unethical drunk who substituted earnesty for wit, and could only communicate with playful overfamiliarity. My cheeks are burning now. How come I was the only one who was fooled by Jack? His head was full of dreams and he boasted grand promises, but he had no imagination for procedure or plan. In truth, he disdained them. I do not wish to know how he endured for so long as he did, but it does not surprise me that a man such as he perished in a place such as this, where merely standing in the wrong place or breathing in the wrong fumes could make any day your last. Yao's voice lowers to a whisper too. So, I am sorry that he forced your hand. But I only think you were unfortunate enough to be caught in his inevitable trajectory. He turns away from me, leading with his lantern in his hand, and I'm just dizzy with self-disgust. We're here. I don't know what he means at first, but I notice now that we're atop an overhang. He shines a light over the pit below, and I can spy shelves of bedrock leading to darker spaces below. The rope is still attached. Before I can say anything, the tiger is climbing down the rope. Nikolai is observing, holding it to keep it steady. We look at least 30 feet above the first shelf. Yao rapidly descends, clenching the rope and clearing the gap between us and the floor of the pit in only about a minute. Then my chest clenches when I see the tiger roll on his back, rolling between the space on the shelves and disappearing. Where is it going? The tiger's voice shouts back, but I don't see him. I'm still close. The second drop isn't nearly as high. Nikolai adjusts the light in his cap to make it brighter. The shift of the weight on my feet is a bit, trying not to look down to the drop. So, would you like to stand up here and help me with the rope? Or would you like to go help Yao instead? What? We have a better chance to find your money if one of us helps search. I do not think Yao knows what a double eagle looks like. And I have never seen one. No. That's what I wanted to tell you about, Nick. This isn't a normal mine. There's something evil in it. It is not very nice of you to speak about my bosses in such a manner. Stop joking! Who said I was joking? This isn't natural, Nick. I saw it. I cross my arms. Well, actually, I never saw it. But I felt it. I don't think anybody should be down there alone. Yao is alone right now. I wince. That's different, Nick. I don't know him like I know you. But I know him. I can hear both of you still. What? How? We're in a cave. Your voice carries far. Oh. Since I am down here in a small space, risking my neck for your money, why don't you come down and help me look? That sounds like a great idea. No, it doesn't. Why would you say that? I have been by myself during work on many occasions. Something evil has never come for me. Shit. If I go help Yao, Nick will be alone. But if I ask him to go help, I'll be alone, which might tempt the thing to come out of hiding. Then we might all be in danger. If we aren't already. We are running low on time, friends. Alright, I'll do it. Thank you. I will keep the rope steady and watch as you go down. I nod as he hands me the rope. It feels damp and wiry in my paws, but coarse enough to keep my grip. I swallow as I crouch, lowering myself down off the edge. I close my eyes as I swing side by side on the rope over the abyss. You alright, Sam? Fuck no. Yeah. Just take it one hand at a time. I listen, still not trying to look left or right. I feel like I'm being stared at by multiple directions from places I can't see. My fur bristles and I slide down one segment of rope, separated by what feels like figure 8 knots. My whole body twirls slowly as I descend another segment. I open my eyes and everything's a muddy brown, lit by Nick's cap. I look to my left and see a cluster of rocks sprouting from the side of the mountain. It's a different sort of sight that I've expected to find in this dirty cave. What's that, Nick? Looks to me like hefty veins of quartz. Quartz? That's the rock we collect and haul. When we're not looking for gold, that is. You're a natural miner, friend. Huh. It's real pretty. My feet touch the cold stone on the ground. Oh good, you've arrived. The tiger's voice comes from a gap in the rocks near my knees that he slid through earlier. I lie on my back and squirm, scooching through the gap as well. I lie there for a while, sandwiched between a layer of stone, fearing that I'm stuck. But then I feel the edge of an opening with my arms and pull myself through, letting my whole body slide through, letting me breathe easy again. The space I fall into is tall enough to stand in. Yao is holding a little taper, standing against the rock wall. The other pit's over here. This is half as deep as the second, but it leads to a narrow path, so hug the wall. The tiger crouches as he knees and hops down another slope. I follow him and immediately feel uneasy. The wall is low here, in a familiar way. We're in the room where I killed Jack. The tiger pulls another taper and a matchbox out of his satchel. He lights it and then hands it off to me. The shine of the light may help find any misplaced metal. I'm sure you can tell, but this is where we found his body. I hold up the candle and shine it on the walls. Too many thoughts are coming to me at once. This is the place he brought me. How did you find him here? Nick was the one who noticed the smell. But we brought his body back through the tunnel, not through the vertical pathway. Again. How did you know where to find him? And how did you know about the vertical passageway? The tiger looks a little uncomfortable now. Because I was the one who initially told him about this passageway. I thought it would be funny to show him the flakes of gold leaf I found here. But then he started telling me stories about how he found a lot of gold there. And started telling many people to come here. Myself included. But few did. I knew that if there had been anything here, it would be long gone. This is a natural part of the cave that existed long before the mine. There's some indication that it used to be used by smugglers to transport goods, or by the people who lived in this land long ago. But did Jack know about the vertical entrance? He did not. Can't even clearly see the passage that we came from, even though I'm looking straight at it. The shadows of the cave, as well as the vertical nature, hides it well. But how did you uncover something like this in the first place? This is an old cave, but it is an old mine as well. It is built in ways that don't make sense. Until, of course, they do. The foreman knew about some of them. They gave it away with their commands. I can feel my brow narrowing. Why did you reveal one of your secrets to us by taking us through the vertical passage? Because Nikolai is a trustworthy man, and he has convinced me that his friends are too. For all his flaws, bad judgment is not one of them. I whirl to look at him, my tail twisting. What do you mean his flaws? He snores. I chuff. You should live lighter, my friend. You will have a healthier heart. My emotions aren't any of your business. I'm at your organ. I don't play any damn music. The tiger sighs. Regardless, I know plenty of secrets about these caves. But you should be searching for a shine right now, not secrets. I do see something shine. I hold my candle up close and recognize that it's Jack's sack of rocks. But they're covered in a ring of charcoal as if they had been set aflame. But the rocks inside, this is gold. Excuse me? I held up one of the rocks. It shined in my hand the exact way a nugget would, and there was a softness to it like it could bend between my fingers. Look. I am looking. You're holding charred remains. I flinch as the gold I'm holding crunches in my hand like a shell. I let go and release the ashes. Then I stare at the pile again. The luster is gone. You know a lot about this place, Yao. Are there fumes in here that could make you see things that aren't really there? Such things can exist, but not here to my knowledge. I get to my feet again and blow the dust off my paws. I ran into a tent earlier today. There were lots of men there. One of them said he used to work at the mines. Maybe you knew him? Perhaps. But that's not that important. They were using opium, I think. I ended up inhaling some. Then I started seeing all sorts of weird stuff. Just like the gold just now. And maybe like the breath. And the thing that slithered on the ground. Maybe it wasn't real. Maybe I'm just nuts. Or maybe it's just a vision of what's to come after I die. Either way, I don't like that I can't trust my senses anymore. But those are all I have. And now I'm seeing yet another thing sparkle in front of my face. It's shining somewhere higher than my head. It's just a flame from a temper. But I imagine that for a second it's my golden eagle. It's not hard to picture. Between Yao's paws I envision my glittering gold coin. I can picture him rolling it between each paw pad, studying it. Months of my life are summed up in that coin. My head between so many knees. My legs lifted and spread so many times, stinging from every poke and prod. And I can only imagine the tiger's eyes shine in the dark too, and the ghostly white. And it's suddenly apparent to me how close his body is to the rock wall exit, how far away I am, crouched on my knees. A horrible feeling washes over me. This feels too familiar. But then I feel his hand on my shoulder. I don't think it's here, friend. A coldness wells up in my chest. Somehow, I felt it wouldn't be. Those charred marks weren't there when we first found Jack. Somebody else has been snooping around here. They must be the ones who have your money. I slammed the dirt with my fist, wishing it was a bastard's skull again. You really have ruined me. Even though you're fucking dead. I killed you. And you still managed to ruin me. The noise I make fills the cavern. I do not mean to be insensitive to your suffering, but myself and Nikolai have run out of time. I wish to escort you out of the tunnels, safely, but I have to leave you behind if you do not follow me now. What's the point of leaving? I have no savings and no prospects. The tiger growls. If you do not give up, I will share another one of my secrets that may save your life later. But first, do you truly wish to tell the meaningful people in your life that you choose death over lending them your strength? We left Nikolai alone at the top. I bite my lips and look away, embarrassed, still feeling hot tears roll down my cheeks. I rise, bending my knees. That is what I thought. The tiger takes a step forward, then stops dead in his tracks. His ears splay back and he looks back at me. I think it's the first time he's looked scared. We have to go. Now. The journey upward is harder than the descent. I'll lead. The tiger presses his body to the north wall and sticks to it, shimmying up the side of it. He raises his hands, grunts and hoists himself upward, disappearing into the ceiling. I follow as best as I can, but not as quick. When I'm in the space Yao was, I feel clusters of rocks that are easy to grasp. But a horrible feeling overcomes me. Something moved out of the corner of my eye near the ground entrance. There's a clicking sound. I haul myself upward, my legs dangling in the air before I climb higher, reaching the platform. I hear the deeper sounds of breathing below me. Then loud, sudden sniffs. Above me, Yao's tail just barely disappears up the next gap. He's going much faster than I'd seen him go before. I don't want to address it. I don't want to think about it. I just want to leave. I walk as quickly and quietly as I can to the second platform and grimacing when I remember that you have to squeeze through the space. I hoist myself up and get into the supine position, squirming back and forth as the rocks touch both my back and chest. The noise behind me aren't getting any louder, but they aren't getting any quieter either. I cover my mouth to gasp when I finally am free of the rocks, but I don't dare look back and get on my feet as quickly as possible. Yeah, I was about 3/4 of the way up the rope already when I get to the base of it. Wait until I'm at the top. It might not be able to support both of us at the same time. I nod, hoping that he can see me, and grip the rope for comfort. I do not hear anything behind me, but I dare not look back. Was it ignoring us when we were together? Was it waiting for me to be alone? Or did it just take a while to pick up my scent? If it were looking right at me through the slits of the rock, that's a big if. It would only be able to see my ankles. And once I start climbing, I feel a lot safer. I just have to wait for him to reach the top. He's almost there now. But I hear the clicking again. Then slithering. Then breathing. It's not too close, but it's not very far either. Whatever it is, it can climb. He does not have to call my name when I see him disappear over the ledge. I lift myself, climbing as quickly as I have ever have in my life. Arm over arm, muscles straining, hands stinging, I get closer to the top. My whole body is spinning with the rope as I ascend. I can't hear the noise anymore, but I can't ignore the possibility that something slithered out the gap. Whatever's down there, if it's down there, could tug at the rope and make it snap, pulling me down with it. I'm not safe until I reach the top. Not till I'm on the platform. When I'm finally getting there, I see Nick on the other end of the rope, keeping me steady while Yao takes a breather. I pull myself onto the rock, let out a raspy gasp, and breathe on all fours, feeling my sweat drip to the stone below me. Something big crouches over me. It's Nick, offering his paw. No luck? I pull Nick into a tight hug, burying my snout in his neck, squeezing my eyes shut. This time I don't smell the mine. It's just him. All of him. No luck. I pull apart, remembering the tiger's presence again. I can't read his expression as he watches us, arms crossed, leaning against the wall. But he was quick and followed my instructions. You really know how to pick 'em, Nick. Again, Yao. This was about helping my friend, not about gauging his talents. Unfortunately, this didn't help him at all. No, it didn't. But I know something that will. There is a reason that I knew Jack was lying to me. That reason is that I know where the real gold is. What? And you withheld that? Nick grasps the tiger's collar, but he pushes the badger off. Of course I did. But the gold is not mine unless I extract it and move it without discovery. And for that, I'm going to need help, or else it might as well be hand-delivered to Mr. Hendricks or one of his lying foremen. We could all be set for life. But not another word about this from either of you, or the deal is off. Nick looks put off, but he nods in resignation. Yao does not seem like the sort of man who would lie to Nick. But I will never believe another story about gold so long as I live. Not until I see it. And even then, my senses may not be immediately reliable. If he's telling the truth, I could be saved. But if he's lying, I will protect Nick. I see the rope suddenly go taut. So does Yao. Neither of us mentioned it to Nick, but we start to leave briskly. We go the way we came from and eventually come upon the large center room with the shaft. I'm happy to be close to the entrance. We sneak past the foreman's cabin again, but this time see no silhouette in the yellow light. He'll be off to the first floor at this time. We break into a jog, turning the corner until we see the light from the shaft. As we make it outside, we see more miners pushing carts across the plains. And a familiar 20 coyotes staring directly at us. Samuel! I freeze. The coyote walks across the field briskly. He's coming from the direction of a noisy jet black automobile with a sleek white hood. But it's hard to pay attention to the machine when the enraged looking coyote is storming towards us. What the hell is he doing here? The badger opens his mouth to answer, but the coyote holds up his paw. Don't even speak, Nick. That was a rhetorical question. Do you know how bad y'all look with him being here? Showing up near a crime scene? I don't know what to say. He's not wrong, and we're caught. I feel like lying will only make this worse. But somehow I can't bring myself to speak. The odd puttering sound of the vehicle comes to a stop, and the big coyote turns around. A large ram exits the machine, light shining from the glossy black door, and an even larger wolf steps out of the opposite side. He walks across the quarry towards us as well. There's a look of terror in Yao's and Nick's expression, but they quickly hide it, turning their expressions blank. The ram chuckles warmly. I do not drive out here to make a scene, Sheriff. Now, what manner of rigmarole is unfolding here in front of me today? Just a standard investigation procedure, Mr. Hendricks. An investigation procedure? Now, I respect your authority, Sheriff Adler, but there will be no shakedown of my employees on my watch. This cougar ain't your employee. The ram looks me up and down. Slowly. Then he smirks. So he isn't. I'd remember hiring an albino if I had. But he wished to be. I look to my left, surprised. It's coming from Yao, but it doesn't sound like him. His accent is much thicker and his words aren't clear. This man very strong. Expressed interest in work. Great promise. I want show him where we work, so he could believe in the work easier. James is smiling brighter. William very much isn't. A prospective employee? Excellent. Broad shoulders, strong hands, a straight posture. You have a soldier's build. I never like when people say that. Danica Mining Co. would be nothing without our strongest men. We're always looking to pack in more muscle. It is an institution, sir. Quite right you are, my boy. Yao was a grown man, you doddering cunt. I force a smile, nodding. So there you have it, Sheriff. No worms beneath the rocks to sniff at. I've never seen an angrier expression on William's face in my life. Feel free to scoop wherever you wish, of course. Perhaps you'll find cooperation easier when you put your best foot forward, eh? He shakes his head and winks as he tisks. Pay my office a visit tomorrow. The ram points his cane to a building sitting above the quarry that's nicer than any I've ever seen before. Thank you for considering me, sir. No trouble at all. You sexy whore, you. No trouble at all. The three of us waste no time in leaving as quickly as we can. Willem doesn't even look at us as we leave, but his bushy tail thrashes from side to side as his arms rest on his hips. Nick and Yao leave me, telling me that they have to get back to work, but they tell me that I should hang around. I don't like to think about what would happen if Willem catches me alone, but I don't like to think about disappearing without the folks at the hip knowing where I am. So I have to decline. Nick shakes his head. Yao takes out a piece of paper, writing down their address. I put it in my pocket, then head my way back to the brothel. When I get there, I check in with them to let them know that I'll be busy tonight. Dora has me pick up some deliveries to make up for the loss of time tonight, which I can't begrudge her for. Just some food and cleaning supplies. Time passes slowly. It's been a long day. By sundown, I'm ready to meet with Nick and Yao again. I follow the street address. The shacks aren't too far from the remains of the press, near those opium tents. But when I arrive at the address, it isn't much of an upgrade. Nick's dwelling is, as the badger told me before, a shack. It's one of many clusters of similar-looking wooden buildings with slanted roofs and a single small porch. Clotheslines are hooked between the ones close enough together. I knock on the door and hear heavy footsteps. I see Nick's familiar face at the screen door, and he unlatches a few locks, letting me in. Not that I think any intruders could be kept out by the screen door if they wanted to break in. I haven't been inside this building until today. The porch opens up to a very small foyer with a coat rack and 10 locked metal safes aligning the wall. I immediately notice a mix of sour, earthy, and woody smells that fill the cabin. Inside the screen door, there's a grubby-looking kitchen no bigger than 10 square feet with a wooden stove, a sink missing one of its handles, and an oven. To the left is the rest of the cabin, 2 sets of bunk beds align the north and south walls, and 1 bunk is in the west wall. I see calendars, poster clippings, and photographs plastered to the walls inside of the bunk beds. Some of the beds use dividers to block out the view of others. Some of them hang their clothes beneath the other bunks, using them as curtains. But there's next to no sound insulation. I hear kicking and scrambling from one of the beds beneath a divider and a ruffling of bed sheets beneath another. Somebody else out of sight is scraping a bowl loudly. Nick takes a seat on one of the floor levers of the bunk bed, crouching so his head doesn't hit the top. His bunk is covered with particular things such as corkboard and a calendar. But there are other things too. Pictures of ornate buildings in a city, 3 smaller badgers, and a larger woman, some frilly delicate desserts that I have never seen before. He also has a wooden yellow duck sculpture on a bed frame shelf. It looks slightly cross-eyed. Yao climbs the bed above him. His space isn't as decorated with objects. Surprising to see no photograph or nothing. Just a few slips of posted paper with characters in vertical rows that I can't read and don't recognize. But the wooden shelves going to his ceiling are filled with porcelain pots and teacups. I take a seat next to Nick under Yao. "I'm so sorry about earlier." His voice is barely a mumble. A sudden cough behind one of the screens reminds us again that we have next to no privacy here. "It's not your fault." My voice is barely a whisper. "That coyote's been following me all day. Should have known he'd show considering his belligerence. No, we took a risk we did not have to take. And we have nothing to show for it." He's right. This is bad. I really don't mind. I do. That policeman grates on me. He isn't that so bad. Whenever he isn't using his tricks on you. His tricks can be useful. I just prefer that he not use them on me. And there's the hitch. Will he continue to follow us? Knowing him? We both know he will be back. But he won't be able to follow us into the mines. Then your friend must join our next shift. Won't somebody start noticing me lurking around the mines? Not if you actually work here. What a shame I never will. You should at the very least apply. Even if you decide not to. Otherwise, you will make Yao look like a liar. Well, he is a liar. Sam, it is important that my employer do not know that. I have carved out some level of trust. I scratch my whiskers as I hear Yao shuffling around above me. For how long? Yao? No more than a week. Maybe 2 hours during the night. There's no way they're gonna hire me in that godforsaken place for just 2 hours a shift. Well, you'd be helping us when you're not on your shift. They will give you an assignment during the day. No assignment will take 2 hours. The foremen do not set us loose into the mines without orders or supervision. There's a sudden giggling coming from behind one of the screen dividers. I don't like that it sounds so close despite not being able to see a damn soul. We should sleep now. He looked at me. It may be prudent to spend the night here. We've 2 empty beds, but I recommend a top bunk next to me. When he says that, I take a closer look at the bed next to him. There's nothing on the wall, nothing at all. No sheets or pillows on the mattress, nothing. The bed on the bottom bunk on the west wall is the same. Nick hands me his blanket. I hear myself stammer. Nah, I couldn't. This weather is too hot for my blood anyway. It's freezing during the night, Nick. Freezing? He stifles a laugh. You do not know what freezing is. Take my gift, or I will be insulted. Fine. Nick waits for me to get to the top of the bunk before he blows out his candles. Then I close my eyes and wait for sleep to take me. I feel my consciousness fade, until my eyes open again, and I wipe the cold sweat from my brow. I lie awake in the little bed. There's a chorus of snoring all around me. I hear tossing and turning in the bunks around me. Some moaning. Another man is crying in his sleep. Moonbeams shine through the windows, making the room glow. I turn around in the bunk to look for Yao, maybe to wake him. And he's staring into the ceiling, wide awake, head in his arms. He catches my gaze and stares back. I beckon him forward with my paw. He shifts around in his bed, turning to me. I made my voice as low as possible. I meant to ask you something earlier. It's about when we were down in the mines. Down in that room you found him in. You felt something before we left in those mines, didn't you? The tiger stares hard. I did. So did I. And I heard it too, when you went on ahead. What is it, Yao? I don't know. It didn't walk or sound like any miner I've ever heard before. But that's not the first time I've encountered something shambling around in the dark down there. But what do you think it could be? My goal is never to get close enough to find out. Might be worth knowing. Could be a wild animal. And if it is, well, then you know. And then you're enclosed in a tight space with a wild animal. Likely a hungry one at that. That's true. Good night, friend. I cross my arms and sink into my mattress. Good night. I toss and turn in this uncomfortable bed before I can finally start to feel myself slip away. Rowdy voices wake me up. The sound of clanking pots, ruffling sheets, and slamming metal lockers makes my head throb. My shoulders ache from the night on the hard mattress, but I manage to drag myself out of bed. There are only a few surprised glances from some of the men, but no vocalized greetings. I hear many different accents and simple phrases in my broken language. Nick and Yao are already dressed and collecting tools. You were awake, and I was worried. We have to start our shift soon. Do you remember where the hiring office is? Of course, the quarry. My memory ain't that bad. You're hurt, so it could be. He pulls me into a tight hug that could break me in half if he wanted to and claps me on the back. I wish I could be there with you. It was easy the first time I did it. Just come to me if you run into trouble. I will see you at lunch. And that's where I'm going to end it. This episode will obviously be a little shorter, and it's because I think for Nick, there's a little less content compared to everyone else. But, well, that's not something I can do anything about. But yeah. So what do you guys think is in the mines? Do you think there's a monster there? Do you think it was just a little snake? Maybe it was just somebody that was prowling around? Maybe a blind mole rat? I don't know. Could be something in there. But yeah, if for whatever reason you're in this episode and you got to this part, well, what do you think? What is it? Is it a monster? Leave it in the comments. I'm always happy to talk to people. Please. Anyways, thank you for watching / listening. If you would like to play any of the Echo Project games yourself, there will be links down in the description. If you would like to support the Echo Project yourself, there will be a link down in the description as well, since I've added it now. And I recommend you do because you will get early access to all of the Echo Project games as they come out towards the end of the month, which is usually, like 2 weeks before the public releases, I think? Or maybe a full month before the public release. I don't remember. Their update schedule is kind of weird right now. And actually, I think within this week, or maybe the beginning of March, Ad Astra Cities, which is a tentative title, will be released, so you'll get early access to that. And then you'll also get early access to Arches, which is the follow-up story to Echo, which, I will put on here when it comes out, but I won't put it on immediately because, I want people to subscribe to them first to get it from them. But if you can't wait, it'll be on YouTube maybe within 2 weeks after it's released on there. I don't want to immediately release it. I'll record it as soon as it comes out, and it's usually just so that my friends can see it as soon as it's released, but everyone else in general will have to wait probably 2 weeks. Unless I know you and you ask very nicely. But anyways, yeah. I will see you guys next time, which is Monday, with the rest of Nikolai's story. And yeah, bye-bye.